Hello everyone, this is Enzo Eigen of the Alliance for Loki, and this is our second war against the mightiest of the mighty, KENOB. So they, as always, have won every war match since the history of war season started, and they are our second opponent of season 18. So I'm going in with Emma Frost, Mysterio, Quake. I'm on path 9. Unfortunately, I forgot to record probably the coolest of my two fights, but this is the third fight on path 9 that I'm doing, and against Mr. Sinister. So they chose to actually place the global siphon node, which is very counter to what most people have done this season and last season. Everyone was always placed flow, but they went ahead and placed it with siphon, which means villains get an extra strong attack against blocks. And so this was interesting, and not surprisingly, everyone I faced was a villain, which of course is not surprising because that's such an advantage for this node. And you can see the type of damage it does just hitting into my block. So against Mr. Sinister, the big thing is that he of course regenerates so easily on critical hits. The nice thing about Mysterio though is that if I end my attacks with the light attacks, I get a passive heal block, which is great. And this increases in duration depending on how many of his lethal gas charges I have. So you can see now I'm putting on the heal block, and it lasts pretty long. I think it's maybe 6 seconds at 3 charges, and so I'm just going to keep on doing that. Trying to dodge his SP1 there. I didn't and get hit by the end of it, which puts a pretty big degen on me. You can see it eats my health pretty well. Of course, the big thing about Mysterio is fighting till you get his SP3, because then your damage really ramps up, and here we're about even. But you see SP3 does a lot of damage. And now I just have to hold on for victory. So, he's down 31% and, managed to actually dodge at SP1. Still trying to put on the heal block all the time. And so at this point I get a little bit impatient. I probably should bait out his SP1, but I thought I could kill him, but I don't quite get it because he's able to heal up from my attacks because I hadn't had the heal block on. You can see that just hitting to my block, blocking his SP2 did so much damage, but I managed to survive, and that was the end of this path for me, which was the end of my war, and I had 3 fights and no deaths, so I continue my deathless season. So that is, as I said, the end of my fights, and now we're going to turn to 3 of my alliance mates, all who had interesting fights that were a little bit challenging. So next up we have Pete, and Pete has run out of items at this point. And so you'll see his health is not great when he starts the fight. And so this is, against Mysterio, another villain because of the siphon node. But luckily Ghost doesn't take too much block damage since, of course, she phases most of it. But the buffet is huge on this, so anytime Mysterio activates his buffet, he gets an incredible amount of health back. But luckily, again, with this style, you don't really activate too many buffs, and so usually you can avoid having too much of the buffet. But there he gets a big regeneration from it, shoots him back up. But he has on the tech boost, so of course every time he launches an SP2, he gets another SP2, so that's pretty powerful, and he saves his phase until he comes running forward and then right into him, and amazing. So amazing kill by Pete as always, and a great fight with half health. Next up we have another half health battle. This one was not on purpose. So this is Strand. He's taken on the Mojo mini boss. I think this is 48. It's the first mini boss up and left. And so he's going in with Human Torch. You see here he has 0 persistent charges, so no pre-fight ability. And look at that health. Someone forgot to heal up. But, he's going to give it his best shot. It's funny in war how there's so many things you have to remember. Change your masteries, put in the right boosts, heal up. Especially when you're doing mini bosses or shared fights, or you're having to unlink, sometimes you're moving very quick, and certainly I've made many mistakes myself. There he gets clipped, and so he's even in more dire straits. He gets his flame on, of course. Human Torch is so great against Mystics, and then he gets hit again, but now he's putting on a bunch of Incinerates. Actually starts turning the fight around. Now about 7 or 8% he's starting to, do some damage, and he's doing pretty good against Mojo now. He's got him unblockable, but again, he just goes ahead and charges at him. It's nice because it's the SP1 preferred node, and so throwing that's actually really good because the SP1's a lot easier to deal with. and he might just pull it off. He's doing well, fires his SP2, and then he dies. It's the degen that finally got him. Unfortunately, with Mysterio, with Mojo, the degen is pretty substantial against these higher ranked characters, and it would have been so amazing if he pulled it off, but not quite. So he's going to go back in again, and this time he's actually going to remember to heal up, and so there goes all the heals, and now he's ready to go in again. And notice he's got his pre-fight ability back. It's a high sig ability, and so this time he puts on his pre-fight, it's at full health, and now he should be able to exact revenge against his Mojo. So gets a nice intercept right off the start, and this is the one where stun immune, I believe, so you're not able to of course parry him, but it is nice with the SP1 because again, SP1 is what you want him to throw, and there he goes. Pretty quick death, and it's too bad he didn't heal up. It would have been for certain a one-shot kill. And so right after this fight is of course the next mini boss, and this is Wally. And so Wally is going against this Arcus, which is a very common placement. In fact, I feel like I've seen this placement almost exclusively in every Alliance war for I don't know how many. It's going with Doom, and Doom is great because of course the big power control. This Arcus gains power so quick because of the power gain buff he has and the power gain node that gives the increased power gain. But here the Indestructible comes in useful with that SP2. The SP2, he always loves to throw it, and of course it's impossible to block, though Dreamin did a pretty good job last time. He's another SP2, but it's alright because it actually helps him gain power. He's at 2 powers of power, can counterattack the SP1, and gives him the smack, and off to the SP3. The great thing about the SP3, of course, is it does a lot of damage, and also has the big power drain as well, so you can get a couple hits in, drain some power, and then you can sort of start everything over again. So he's at a SP3, but he manages to drain just enough power that he can launch his SP2. And so now he immediately goes in. That seemed very lucky. And again, he's taking power from his hits, which is great because it sort of keeps him out at SP3. He's bouncing back and forth, launches another SP3, and again, he's gone down to 39%. This fight always feels sketchy because Arcus, again, is such a perfect defender. He's got an SP3, does his hits again, gets him, and KOs him. So an incredible fight by Wally. So unfortunately we did lose to KENOB. Again, they're so good. They had 6 deaths total. We had 20, which, to be honest, 20 is pretty good against their amazing defense. Usually we're more in the I'd say 14, 15 range of out deaths, but again, incredible alliance, and they just die so few times. So I think our best was maybe 8 deaths or 7 deaths. So even if we played our absolute best in our history, we still would not have beaten them. But still fun to play against them. They present an incredible challenge and really fun, and it's really cool to see all these fights are always right on the edge. Even my Easy Path 9 fight was dicey for a minute. So thank you all very much for watching. A special big thanks for Panda, to Strand, and to Wally for their videos, and I look forward to seeing you in War number 3. Take care. Bye bye.